Hey there, guys. How you doing? Welcome. My name's Yalek. We are going to be doing a Fat Fingers video today. If you have been here before, then you know who we are. If you have not, then Fat Fingers is a 5-man Boom Beach task force working on trying to get to the top of the leaderboard for I don't know how long, and I don't know if that'll ever happen, but in the meantime, it's fun to try. So we are currently sitting here. We are in the later stages of our current operation. We have one fail. That's mine. Womp, womp, womp. 2 hours left on this operation, and we still should have a pretty good day if everybody finishes up what they're supposed to here, and we'd have no more crazy hits. So we should end up winning 976 force points today. Yesterday, after a few minutes after the close of yesterday's operation, we were at number 11, and I'm thinking that with we should get 976 force points today. That should keep us afloat in exactly that same territory, I want to say. So that's where we are, that's where we have been, and so that's a little higher than we've been in quite a while. We've been moving along. I'm going to show you our op log in just a minute, and it's we've got some pretty good days in there, and today is not a bad day. Could have been better, but they could definitely be worse. Now, currently we have 2 tribes going on that are great for operations. That would be the gunboat energy plus 50%, and the barrage cost reduction. Honestly, of the 2 of them, depending on the circumstances, gunboat energy plus 50%, while always great, is a limited ability because it only gives you 50% of your It only gives you 50% of your original gunboat energy. So max level gunboat, you get 53 energy, so you're getting 26.5, which probably rounds up to 27 GBE. Under certain circumstances, if you have to use barrage a lot here, the cost being halved is, barrage is expensive, so the cost being halved can be a huge, huge bonus. Anyway, the point being, we have had 1 week, I think, of 1 week? Well, how much time do we have left on here? Basically, we've had 1 week of these tribes, again, going back to all of the good days that we've had recently, and then before that, we had 2 weeks of a zooka damage tribe. So you would expect with tribes like that are very helpful for operations that we would be doing better. And I mean, this is a really, really good, you can check back here, going back to 12 days ago, that was the last real clunker there, but since then, 982, 952, 1131, 1095, just on and on and on. The worst operation that we had was a 786, and that was, I mean, unfortunate, but not the end of the world. You would expect with tribes like we have had to see performance more like this. You would expect, for sure, that operation should be easier, and so we should be putting the points on the board. The interesting thing to me is that I did not expect that in circumstances like this, we would be moving up the leaderboard as we have been, so that's interesting to me. Not going to get into why that might be. I'm sure there must be reasons, but yes, there are advantages making our lives easier right now. However, we also seem to be improving versus other teams right at the moment. Whatever the reason is, I will take that. We're doing this video today because yesterday was a max day, 1131 here, and it wasn't the worst, like it wasn't the hardest operation in the world. Great names there, as you can see. It also wasn't the easiest. There were a couple of curveballs thrown in here, and so I figured, I mean, 5 blue lines, it was a very good operation, and it's definitely something worth sharing. So without further ado, we're going to get into these hits. Op started, we'll just go in chronological order on this one. So the op started with franchise doing Javanese. Now this is where the extra GBE does come in handy, because this is the hottest of hot beaches on this particular Javanese. Absolutely no room for farming, and I don't know what he keeps for statues. I go with 5 GBE, so this was not something that I was going to attempt, even with the extra GBE from the tribe, which, like I said, don't get me wrong, it's wonderful to have. It's a great bonus, but it also is limited. It's an extra 26.5 GBE, and then that's it. That's all you get. By the time you get to the back of a base like this, that's like an extra smoke or maybe 2 and nothing more, because the smokes get progressively more expensive. 2 on the beach, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that he's in right now, 8, 9, 10, 11 or 12 smokes, depending on, I think he just uses 2 from here. Those smokes get expensive, so, you know, by the time you get to the back of a base like this, that extra GBE boost is not as powerful or overpowered as you might think it would be. Anyway, he goes the safe route. He goes with, and if need be, he probably could have gone with the two shock play, Pimp Shock, and then those guys. He had the GBE for 3. It's very handy to know what your how much it costs for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shocks for GBE. This had 1.7 million health on it. So you get there, he got a lot of girls there. It was one of the other reasons I wanted to show this operation. It was a pretty clean operation. He lost not that many troops. What did he lose? He lost 5 zookas, so 1.7 million. You get your girls back there, and if you have the GBE for the 3 shocks, you go ahead and do that and make sure that it dies, which he did. So, and again, I'm assuming that he knew in the moment, that the 3 GBE was going to cost him, or 3 shocks was going to cost him 39 GBE, and if you have it, you have it. Don't forget to account for flaring the core and battle orders, though, because, you know, that's a mistake that I've made. Probably everyone has made at some point, but I can't speak for anyone else. Anyway, so he knew he had it, he made sure that it died, and he lost 5 zookas, so that was a great hit. Then we had Dot on Phobos, and he lost 8 zookas. He also lost the 3 bombardiers, but I'm not going to count the bombardier losses as, you know, those aren't getting counted against him because they're sacrifices. He's doing it on purpose to get up a bunch of GBE. Why is he doing that? Well, because we've got a long walk Phobos here, and this is the 298 base, so let's see, 1.8 million plus a little bit more, so 1.8 or something like that million health on this. And it's not that it's non-standard or anything, it's just that this right side was kind of messy, so we had talked about going to the left. And again, with 1.8 million, if you get your girls there, get there in good order, even with 7 boats, it will die. Just get them there and have enough GBE for the things that you need to do. So from here, we're looking at 1 shock, 2 shocks, 3 shocks, 4 shocks. These guys don't range, so just 4 shocks. So he sacrifices the boat of bombers. We'll speed that up. That was in 2 times mode. So he, I felt like I talked quite a bit through that. So he farmed quite a lot. Good for him. 4, 10, 14 buildings. So 14 times 3 on the GBE. Is that 42? You know me, I'm a professional farmer, so I love seeing that. Nice walk here. Beautiful walk. Not peaked the tiniest bit, has the delay on everything. So yeah, you get your shocks down here, you win. One thing I will say is on this hit, yeah, he's going to win handily here, as you would expect. He lost 8 zookas, and that was mainly to these guys over here, the single shot defenses. One problem I often get on this hit is I'll zoom in a little too much, so that I'm staring over here and I forget or I miss one of the rockets up here at the top because it ends up out of screen. So yeah, don't do that. Anyway, he didn't do that, so that was a great hit. So that was what, the 226, I think, and the 298 base. We don't have to watch the buildings blow up, I suppose. 190, and this was the 262. So I took the 190, I took assembly. So far, this is the massacre of the operation. I lost 23 zookas, and then the 3 bombardiers, which, again, doesn't really count because it's an intentional sacrifice. Lots of GBE to be had over here. I'm going to go ahead and take that, even with the GBE tribe. This is a long walk. I want at least 4 shocks up here for the method that I'm going to use. There are a couple different bullet methods that you can use on assembly. We'll let those guys just keep doing what they're doing for a second. There are a couple bullet methods you can use on assembly. For this one, I'm not going to try to shock him. I'm just going to walk back between these 2 flamethrowers back here and use taunt to occupy the flamethrowers over in this corner. That means I want 4 shocks. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So long walk, 4 shocks. And also, the other thing is I've got bullet, not brick. So the health on this is not too terribly high. That's 1 point, I don't know, like 1.2, 1.3 million. I don't know why my brain is not working right this moment. The health is not terribly high, but since you do not have brick, your damage potential is somewhat limited, so thinking I might need to buy a little bit of extra time, I went and got a bunch more GBE. Don't know why I started smoking quite as early as I did. I could have saved, I think, a little bit. I smoked a tiny bit higher up the beach, but whatever. Or maybe that was a different day. I don't know. It tends to run together. I get this, I end up with assembly a lot because I like this walk, so who knows? I might be thinking of another operation entirely. But you get there, get your girls there. Bullet doing his thing. I really love this hit. And assembly usually does not have insanely high health. Like, I think the highest health I've ever seen on assembly is 1.7, 1.8 million. Pretty sure I've seen 1.8 million, but not higher. So 5 million, 1.5, it's like 1.3, I guess. Kind of middle of the road for assembly. But, yeah, I see I had the extra GBE there. Throw these critters down here just so that this stuff over here doesn't just start picking off zookas right away. The critters can buy you some extra time. This, I mean, those guys landed so late it wouldn't have mattered anyway, regardless, but still had, what, like 80 zookas or something there working if I lost 23, and they did a pretty good job on that core. Again, not the highest of health. Anyway, Sven, 262, normally this would have been taken earlier in the operation, but Sven loves complex. I think that the last 2 or 3 of these Fat Fingers videos that I've made, it was Sven on complex. This was obviously a nice clean one. Again, this is why we're here while doing this video, because he lost only 15 girls on this walk. He tagged it, he wanted it. I don't know if it's his favorite hit, but it's got to be one of his favorites. It's his signature play. Anyway, so just under 1.7 million here. Clearing some mines, tags the boom cannon, missed one of the 9-pack of mines, and he must have checked because he knew that that was a 24 and that could not stay there. 2 smokes on the beach. Still not a move I always manage to pull off, although sometimes. This is not one of my favorite hits, so when it can be avoided, I avoid this. Not that I won't do it other places, I just try not to do it here. I can do it, just not well. Let Sven do it. That's what he's here for. And I'm here for, you know, assembly and stuff like that. So anyway, nice clean walk, has the delay on everything. Has some extra GBE. That critter is not normal, but it's a safety critter. He's going to do, since he has the GBE for it, again, he would have known that at the time, so he's going to do an extra shock down here on this rocket launcher. The GBE tribe definitely helps with that, making sure that he can do these safety plays like that and like that, again, in the interest of making sure that this base goes boom. So, what did we say? He lost 15 girls on that, and that was, I think, 1.7-ish million. And that left us with, I think, Argus to do Tapir, and honestly, this was the hit that made me most nervous of the entire operation. He hit a bit late in the operation, not super late, no problem with it, but he hit a bit later on, so we already knew we had 4 solos, and then this Tapir. So he did the job, and he did it well. He lost only 6 zookas, so yeah, I guess that does leave me as the massacre of the operation, 23 zookas. Man, I'm a butcher. Anyway, very easy Tapir, but these are the times where, you know, things do tend to screw up. So sometimes you get more nervous about not screwing up than you do with some of the bigger hits. I don't know why that is. Anyway, pretty low health on this since it's only the 155, so we're under 1.2 million there. Technically get away with 2 shocks. I was looking at this and thinking to myself, especially with the GBE tribe, I would have shocked everything up there. I would have gone with 4 shocks. And again, to make absolutely certain that this base dies. This stuff, and probably would have shocked the machine gun separately, because every so often I have a tendency to miss this guy over here. He did not play it as cautiously as all of that. Of course, one of the zookas is going to pop out of smoke because they like to spread here. We parked a little further back from the core. He went with three shot. No, he went with a 4th shock. He shocked the cannons. I would have shocked this mortar back here, because that often will clip a few of your girls as well, depending on how you've parked. If you park a little bit closer up, they don't spread as much, but then the mortar sees you. So probably better to do it the way he did. Anyway, he did not screw up, nor did anyone else, which is why we ended up having a max force points a day. And hey, look at that, we're under 16 minutes. That's like record time, which is good, because I have places to be very shortly, and I've come from the gym, so I should probably shower before I get to those places, because, well, you know. Anyway, that was yesterday. This has been this week. Last couple of weeks, it's been a good couple of weeks, so hopefully this keeps up. I mean, there's no reason it shouldn't continue. I'm sure we're due for a terrible op roll pretty soon here, but in the meantime, we'll take it as we can get it. But, I mean, it looks to be good times, so I'm on board with it. Anyway, like the video, thumbs up, all that stuff. I'm Alec, I'll catch you later.